Ja,
Het is zo hard gewerkt.
ek kan dit nie glo nie.
As I started studying for my final exam season, I quickly realized that I had approached learning wrong this year. I tried so many different studying techniques. Studying in groups, studying alone, learning with or without the textbook. The list goes on. But in the end, I realized that how I've always been studying was the best method all along. Group work is good for getting work done, but I need to study alone, working and writing out all the equations and sums until I gain enough confidence to do it myself. Every subject differs, but in the end, following the layout of the textbook and doing the practice questions worked best. If I felt like I had gaps in my knowledge, YouTube videos came to my rescue. But out of all my subjects, there was one I couldn't do. No matter how hard I worked, I just couldn't wrap my head around the content. The work just didn't click. And it's been that way since high school. It's worse in university though, because now what was once mere a chapter of work has a whole subject dedicated to it. The work just didn't click. At this point I was so over it, with all the tests we had already written. With only this subject left to write, I felt a mountain in front of me. As soon as I grasped one thing, another was soon to follow that was harder to grasp than the previous. I felt hopeless. A lot of it didn't make sense, and my calculations were off close to every time. But I was determined to beat this subject. I worked through basically every sum in the textbook. Through tears and feeling like a failure, I decided that I could either be miserable without God, or miserable with Him by my side. Head in my hands, tears streaming down my face, I said, God, even if I didn't pass, I choose you. Even in the uncertainty, I will be faithful and still pray and be thankful for all you've given me. Before I knew it, the day came to write the test. That morning, none of my calculations wanted to work out, and I saw my weeks' worth of hard work crumbling in front of me. I remember sitting in the exam and the answers not feeling right. There was a question of 12 marks I couldn't complete, and a lot of my answers weren't well rounded. I realized that this was it. I was going to fail. And I was crushed because I really put in my all. I haven't gotten one good mark in the subject, and thus I had to get a very high mark in the exam to pass. And if I felt this unsure in my answers, then I truly was done for. There was nothing more I could do. After the test, I cried and cried and cried. What I feared most was staring me in the face. The possibility of failing was tangible. Then I stumbled across this TikTok.
God is proud of you. It makes my eyes water because of how proud He is of you. That when you felt like giving up, you did it. And even when you said you gave up, time still moved on, so you never really gave up in the first place. You've waited. You've been faithful. You've been obedient. And that's not any of the reasons why God is really proud of you. He's not proud that you kept the law, that you didn't lie, that you didn't shoplift that one time when you could have. He's not proud of your church attendance or your Bible time. He's proud that you've accepted yourself as a child of God. He's proud of the cross that you have accepted, that you have really believed, and you've not given up. He's proud of who He's making you to be. So keep doing what you're doing.
And I started crying all over again. Despite feeling so terrible, I was faithful. I really did the absolute best I could, and that is enough. Then the waiting began. A day passed, then a week, and another, until the notification popped up.
Ja.
Wat heb je? Heeft verdiept.
Zie jy? Glo net. Jou harde werk is afgepakt.
So hard
gewerk. Jy, dis hoekom jy dit gemaak het.
Lieve Jesus. Wow.
Ek kan dit nie glo nie. Sjoe.
Oh, you deserve it.
Ek kan dit nie. Dis letterlik onmoontlik. Dit is nie onmoontlik nie. Jy het gewerk daarvoor en die Jesus het jou gehelp. Oh, ek het nog gebid. Liewe Vader.
It's the best news ever.
Ek kan dit nie glo nie.
Phew.
I couldn't believe what I saw, and I didn't grasp at the time why everything had to be so hard for me to understand. But at that moment after the test, I knew that I truly was okay with whatever the outcome was. But let me tell you this, it was only God's work that got me through that subject. I also realized that not all stories have the better ending. I was lucky. God humbles us in the very thing He calls us to, so we won't pull up our breeches too high, thinking we have it all together.